Hi everybody, this is Snow with the Crusty Computer Club, and today we're going to IPL an IBM 4683 terminal for you guys. Now, what is the 4683? Well, you can probably guess by how it looks. This is a point-of-sale terminal. This was, I believe, IBM's second generation of computerized point-of-sale terminal. And this is where we get our modern point-of-sale systems and everything that comes with it. TCX Sky, SurePOS Ace, those powered USB cables and those weird SDL connectors, it all dates right back to 1986 and the 4680 store system. So enough dallying around, let's get started, let's hit the switch and IPL. U001 means that all peripherals have received power and they've initialized. U003 means that all basic power on self tests have completed, and U004 means it's now starting its network boot sequence. U005 means that it has found a controller and it is now currently downloading an image to IPL. Now, the 4683 is an interesting beast of a machine because it doesn't talk Ethernet. There was a token ring option as far as we can tell, but we don't have any surviving examples of the token ring option, so we have no idea if it was able to IPL or if it was just a communications protocol. So then, you may be asking, how does the 4680 talk to its terminals? Well, the answer is by using one of these. This is a loop wiring concentrator. And if I take it closer to the camera here, there you go, you might be able to tell that, wow, this looks a little bit familiar right here. And for those of you who have gotten deep into IBM lore, this may look like a token ring connector. And in fact, it is the same connector that IBM used in their 8228 MAU. But if we flip it over, you know, that's not an MAU. This is what is known as store loop. And in fact, if you read the IBM cabling system available on BitSavers, you'll find that IBM was actually really proud of their loop system. Token Ring used these connectors. The 4680 store system used these connectors. There were options that you could connect standard telephones with Type 1 connectors. You could connect up 8100 series terminals. You could connect up 5250 and 3270 workstations over loops and Type 1 connectors. It was a really wild time. We've now moved on to U006, which means that it has completed downloading the operating system image, and it's now downloading the application and terminal definition file. Now back to the store loop connector, because this will take some time to complete this step of IPL. If it's not token ring, if it's not Ethernet, what is it? Well, the store loop protocol is a synchronous serial protocol. This is a shared medium running at 38.4 kilobits per second. And as mentioned previously, it is a shared medium, so all terminals in the store share the exact same 38.4 kilobit per second bandwidth. Which means if one terminal is currently coming up, like it is now, it gets the full 38.4. If two terminals are coming up, you divide that 38.4 by 2. And so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. Now, if you had, 20 or 30 different terminals all coming up at the exact same time, you could theoretically end up with 30 different terminals all trying to IPL at 300 bits per second. And that's no fun. So one of the neat features about the 4680 in particular is that it had a set of NiCad AA batteries built into the terminal that was used for keeping the memory powered in the event of a power loss. Now you'll notice that we've moved over to U007 and then our operator display has come up to W008 program is loading. We are now extracting the image and terminal definition file, and in a few minutes we will begin to start querying and initializing all the hardware in the machine. So the purpose of the battery pack was, as you might suspect, to keep the memory intact in the event of a power loss, because IBM rightfully realized, hey, 50 terminals trying to IPL at 100 bits per second is unacceptable. So once this terminal comes fully up and operational, if I were to hit the power switch right now, it would actually remember and keep alive everything in memory. That's pretty cool, and that solved the problem of having 30 terminals all trying to IPL at insanely slow speeds. Now, who used these terminals? All kinds of different businesses. Grocery stores love them, Walmart loved them, we found evidence that Macy's used them, several department stores used them. The 4680 was an insanely big success. So much so that it made IBM pretty much king of the retail world right next to NCR for, the next 20 or 30 years. And to this day, well, IBM no longer owns their retail business. That all got sold to Toshiba, but 4690 OS was the successor to 4680 OS, and there's still a compatibility layer inside TCX Sky to this very day. You could, in fact, run 4680 and 4690 applications in TCX Sky if you really, really wanted to. This step does take some time. The hardware inside is a 10 megahertz 286 processor. Now, this particular machine has 2 megabytes of memory, but the first generation of 4680 terminals only had an 8 megahertz processor and 1 megabyte of RAM. They were about on par with your average poverty spec 5170. Okay, the display has blanked, sales IPL active. We are now running the general sales application. Our customer display has switched over to the idle screen. Welcome to Worst Buy at VCF Southeast. And in just a minute, we'll be able to sign on. There we are, sign on. We can now sign on to the terminal and we can process a sale. So let's do that. There we go. Now, the way I've configured general sales application is akin to what you might have found at the checkout line in a department store. It jumps straight into the cash sales. But you could also configure it to show a menu of different transactions you could run. You could configure it to run just layaway transactions or return transactions. GSA is very flexible about how you can configure it. But here, we're just pretending we're at the checkout line. So let's enter a product code. We'll hit total. Now it asks us, how do we want to pay for it? I'm going to pay $10 cash for this copy of Alone in the Dark. So we'll enter $10. We'll hit enter. Oops. Okay, now it's $20. So we'll type in $20 cash. It pops the cash drawer. It gives us a receipt. It cuts the receipt. I can give it to the customer. Close the drawer, and now we're ready for the next sale. We'll sign out, and that has completed our IPL and sales demo of the IBM 4680 and the general sales application. You can see this hardware running live. You can play with it for yourself if you so desire if you come to Vintage Computer Festival Southeast 2026 and Southern-Fried Gaming in Atlanta, Georgia. So come on down, end of this month.